Welcome to an emergency Get the Word Out with Project Next. I'm Sarah Blessing, and I have Beau Bayh with me, who's running for Secretary of State. And we are talking about election integrity today because I woke up to a very startling email from Michelle Higgs and Indiana Rural Summit alerting us that a bunch of candidates filed for state offices in Indy on January 7th, and a bunch of them didn't work. No, they're all gone, sweetie. Go shut the door. Sorry, my 7-year-old wants more cornbread. And so
Been there before.
anyway, a bunch of candidates have to go up back to Indy by Friday, February 6th at noon, or they could get kicked off the ballot. So let's talk about it. How are you, Beau? Thank you so much for joining me. I know I texted you late morning, so I appreciate you being on. How are you?
I'm doing well. I mean, this is a crazy news story that we've all been following the past few days, but thanks a ton for having me on, and I'm looking forward to discussing it.
Yeah, and you're going to be on for a half an hour until around 6. Ryan Price is going to join us. He's somebody that had to drive all the way up to Indy, do like over 4 hours of driving today. And then we're going to have Michelle Higgs, who's the organizer of Indiana Rural Summit, and Blythe Potter, who is also running for Secretary of State. We're all going to do this in an hour, so this is a lot of organizations. So hopefully we can do it. So Beau, do you want to explain the story? Do you want me to explain it? And then how do you want to do this?
You go ahead. We can tag team it.
Okay, you just fill me in when I get things wrong. So, Indiana Rural Summit, Michelle Higgs organized everybody to come on filing day, the first day to run for state office, January 6th. She helped organize this mass thing of about 30 candidates that came, and they came at the same time. That was the day you and I did our interview. So I didn't make the initial time. I came up a few hours later. So they met and they filed for their state offices. A lot of state house and state senate. Ethan Sweetland May was there. Ryan Price was there. A bunch of people were there. And they filed so quickly. A bunch of them filed with the Democrat office, and some of them filed with the Secretary of State office. And they needed a notary, a person that was approved to sign the paperwork. And apparently, the Secretary of State notary person wasn't actually notarized. They didn't actually have the power to sign the documents. And when I first heard the story, I was like, wait a minute. Is Diego, are they planning some type of thing to kick us off the ballot? No, it doesn't look like it was that. It just looks like these people aren't great at their job. They're not great at their job. They weren't prepared. They didn't actually have a person that could be a notary signing the paperwork. So some of the candidates, it's like 20 to 30, I think it's around 30 candidates, got it signed by the notary that wasn't a notary with the Secretary of State. I don't have to go because I worked with Abby Taylor with the Democrat division, and she made sure we got everything correct. So I don't have to refile. But other candidates did. Okay. So did I miss anything?
No, but just one point to underscore. This is not just Democrats that are affected by this. The Indiana Capital Chronicle just put out a piece covering this exact story, quotes multiple Republican candidates for office that have now,
Wow.
at the direction of the House Republican caucus, gone back and have had to refile their paperwork and gone through the same thing.
I
So
was
this
wondering if that happened to them too.
it's happening to them too. So it's not just our people. Everyone in our state, regardless of political party, should be not very satisfied with the level of services being provided here.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a big thing. You and I talked about this last time, how hard it was for me to find the right paperwork on the election like website, the government Indiana website. It took Michelle Higgs and a team of people to find the right documents. I was finding the old documents and I was very confused and it was really hard to find. So I already knew it was confusing, but to actually drive all the way up to Indy, think you're doing the right thing, get the form signed to come all the way back, we have it on file that we were running. And now to find out with only 2 days, 2.5 days left, that there could be problems and these people have to refile. So I guess in the Republican side are furiously working to make sure their people can get back to Indy.
Yeah, it's unacceptable. But to be frank with you, Sarah, should we be surprised? This is what this guy does. It's not only the lack of integrity. It's not just the luxury car that you and I and your listeners paid for. It's not the world travel that he won't tell us where he went or the purpose of the travel or who paid. It's not just the hiring of the relatives. It's not just the no bid contracts. In addition to that, He is not good at this job. This is a basic, fundamental responsibility of the Secretary of State, making sure that the brave men and women that are brave enough to put their name on the ballot have the tools necessary to do that, and that when they do it, they can trust that the paperwork is being completed properly. I mean, that's fundamental to the office. And he can't even do that.
That's like one of the basic jobs of being Secretary of State. So you're talking about Diego Morales, who is our current Secretary of State, and this is his first term. I remember he ran against Destiny Wells. That's how I met Destiny. I tried to help her win 4 years ago in 2022. And so you're saying we already have all this evidence of incompetence, of not doing the job well, using taxpayer dollars to, or campaign, it was campaign finance money, right? Campaign donations to buy the car that he bought.
It's actually, so it's tax money. So,
oh, it was?
Your listeners are probably aware of this. It's a nice SUV. I've seen it. It's luxury, top of the line, costs $92,000. That is way more than the average Hoosier makes in an entire year. But he thinks that he's entitled to a nice SUV on our dime. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And Sarah, just one other point why we shouldn't be surprised. This person, Diego Morales, the current Secretary of State, was fired from the office that he now holds for incompetence. So when we elect people that are fired for incompetence, we should not be surprised when they are incompetent. I mean, that seems like common sense to me.
And so they've reached out for comment. You know, reporters, news organizations are reaching out to the Secretary of State's office about this. Do we know what they're responding with? Are they saying, yes, we made a mistake, we're fixing it? Do we know?
That response would take a level of accountability and ownership and leadership that Diego Morales seems incapable of. Of course, they will never accept responsibility. Of course, they will deflect, tell lies, and never accept any blame.
That does seem to be the playbook of, we see Donald Trump doing this. We see Kristi Noem doing this. We see it time and time again. There's no accountability of making mistakes. And as humans, we make mistakes. And so if someone cannot say whoops and fix it.
Yeah. No, I think we were talking about this today, sir. No one look, the people of our state are reasonable. They're great people. They don't expect you to be perfect. No human being is perfect. But what they do expect from you, if you're an elected official, is to tell them the truth and accept responsibility and take ownership of your mistakes. That is what they should expect from our leaders. Diego Morales is clearly not capable of that. And that's extremely concerning.
I'm so frustrated because on my end, I'm really working hard to try to recruit people to run for office. There are still seats open, and we have till Friday at noon if you're interested. And it is hard and it is confusing. And that's why I'm so thankful for Indiana Rural Summit and Michelle Higgs to be a support system to what documents do we need to fill out? What do we put in this spot here? What do we check? So we have extra support, but it's not coming from the Secretary of State's office. If you were elected Secretary of State, what would you do differently than what we have happening right now?
I would make our office much more willing to partner with people running who are doing exactly what you're doing and are taking the step to run for
regardless
office.
Of political party?
Regardless of political party. Because even if we disagree on some issues, which we do, we should be commending people for taking the step to put their name on the ballot. If you care enough about your community, about our state, about our country, to try and fix it by running for public office, we, in some sense, even if we disagree on some stuff, have to, make that process as easy and as, as common sense as possible. So, of course, that'll be a priority of mine.
Yeah.
Mommy,
yes.
Can Daddy make us cake?
You can ask him when he gets home, honey. Sorry. My 15-year-old's getting contacts right now with my husband, so I quickly fed the twins. But anyway, this is funny. So I had another question. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Yeah, I need you to come.
Yeah.
I love you. Bye, honey.
Bye.
So my question is, they did reach out to the office, to the Secretary of State's office, and they are saying, come back in and redo the paperwork. So that right there says there could be a problem.
Well,
so even though Diego Morales isn't saying we messed up, everybody come back.
Yeah. So the Secretary of State's office, I believe, and please fact check me if I'm wrong, listeners, but the Secretary of State's office via Diego Morales is denying any wrongdoing because he can never accept fault. The elections division, which is separate, which is bipartisan.
Oh, okay. The election division is separate. Okay.
Two Republicans has said, please come into our office if you have any questions on this. So with that, they're not admitting that what the Secretary of State's office was doing was wrong. But what that tells me is there's not really a reason they would come out with that statement if they weren't a little curious about what was going on, right?
Yeah.
So,
And the part that frustrates me is we're getting so many lies, from the Secretary of State. How do we know whether we can trust him? Like if they say there's no problem, the paperwork's fine, how do we know if we can trust that?
you can't, and that's one of the reasons that he can no longer be in that office come November of this year. If you cannot trust him to do the basic, this would be I was talking about this today with one of my friends. It would be like expecting a basketball player to play the game without knowing how to dribble. I mean, this is a fundamental quality that someone in this office should be able to fulfill. If you cannot do the most basic fundamental job of your office, you don't deserve to hold your office. I mean, it's not about his political party. It's not
Right.
about being a Republican.
And it's hurting both sides.
Yeah,
So
it's hurting both
Republicans are having
sides.
to refile too.
There's in the Indiana Capital Chronicle article that just came out. The last quote in there was from a woman running. She's a Republican running for some position. I forget the exact spot, but her quote was, "quote I don't really know what's going on." Okay, that cannot be the attitude of people who are filing to run for public. You should never be, as a potential candidate, asking yourself with respect to filing, "I don't really know what's going on." That is a failure of the Secretary of State's office. That's why we can't tolerate this anymore.
And I texted my friend Abby Taylor, who's the Democrat campaign finance coordinator at the State House, and she's been there for a long time and she's great. And I texted her about this, and she said, that's why we tell everybody you file with the Democrat office, not with the Secretary of State office. You file with us because we make sure it's done correctly. That's where I'm like, there's something wrong with the system if we can't trust the main organization that's supposed to be running these elections smoothly with integrity, without giant mistakes like not having the correct notary person to sign off on your candidate filing when you're driving all over the state and you only have a few weeks to file.
That's right. And just to put this into the broader context a little bit, this is very important. Having someone in this office that doesn't really know what's going on. The president gave a press conference yesterday and basically said that he wants to federalize state elections. That goes against Article 1 of the Constitution, which delegates authority to the states to run elections. So just to bring this into context, we live in a political environment now where the sanctity of our elections, where our election integrity is in question. And when that's the case, and you're looking at our Secretary of State as someone who can be a bulwark to that and can get the job done, hopefully, and you don't have a lot of confidence in that person to get the job done, that is extremely concerning, and it should be concerning for Republicans and Democrats alike. And it has been, as evidenced by the fact that some of these folks in the other party are going in to get their paperwork redone.
Yeah, I imagine that the Republican Party is not thrilled right now with how the election division is being ran, because they need to be elected as well. Like, we need this to function so that we can get democracy.
What kind of person, regardless of the political party you're in, like spending 2 or 3 hours on a weekday when they got work and family life to go do something that they thought they already did? No person is going to love that. It's just going to rub everyone the wrong way. So this is a great moment for us to make a bipartisan pitch. If you Republican people running for office, if you don't want to have to put up with this nonsense, come on in. Like, let's
We welcome you. Let's elect a better Secretary of State to clean
exactly.
this up. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is Diego being primaried?
He has 2 challengers at his convention thus far. So we'll see what the outcome of that is. He was in DC the other day trying to, take pictures with some of Indiana's elected officials to signify support behind him. But we'll see. I mean, there's definitely a lot of people that are not happy with him. And I've been very lucky to receive support from some Republicans in our state that are fed up with him.
And I think that's a good thing. That's a really good thing when Republicans are calling you and talking to you and donating to you to say, we need something better. We need election integrity. We need to make it better and easier to vote, because right now we're one of the worst states. Sometimes we're the worst state to vote in. We have a lot of voter suppression. The times that we have to vote from 6 in the morning to 6 at night is bad. A lot of other states go much later than that. That's why on election night, when you're watching TV with the news and the states light up, ours is one of the first ones because our polls close so early. These are things that if you were elected, you could fix. Is that correct?
Well, it's statutory. So what I would do is use my platform as a statewide elected official to advocate for more common sense hours, for example, in voting, where we don't penalize working people for wanting to vote. I mean, you just mentioned the hours, 6 to 6. A working person who's having to be at their job from those hours is going to look at that and say, can I give up a day's work when I'm really struggling to make ends meet to vote in an election? A lot of people would look at that and say, I can't make the sacrifice. So we should be accommodating people, especially working people, to be able to get to the polls when they can. But to answer your question, it's a statutory remedy. So what we need to do is elect folks like the next guest coming on your show to the State House to pass better election laws that will make it to expand voting hours, early voting.
And
hours.
I'm running for I'm running for State House
And
too.
you, there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ryan and I are neighbors on that. So so Ryan is here. He has had a very busy day, you all, because Ryan Price has had to refile. He was one of the people that got notarized by a not notary person. So Ryan is on for just a few minutes. Ryan, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Good. Hey, Ryan, have you met Beau?
I have not.
So Beau Bayh,
good to see you too. Nice to meet you.
I'm sorry about all this hassle you had. It's crazy.
It's really wild.
I'm one of the few workers that has some flexibility with my work. So, it was a snow day for my kid. I took it as an opportunity to learn about some state government. So I took my daughter.
So you brought your daughter with you up to Indy to refile?
Yep. So we went to the election division office and did everything the official way over there. So I have filed twice now. I don't think there should be any contest against that. So
did you file with the same people, or did you work with like the Democrat division this time?
Yeah, it was over in IED with the Democrat division. The first time around, it was down at the Secretary of State office. And, I filed with the Indiana Rural Summit candidates on the opening day of filing. And our paperwork had been reviewed ahead of time to make sure that everything was accurate. We just had to walk in, have them, sign off, stamp it and all that. And as far as we knew, everything was good up until the report came out yesterday. And with the deadline quickly approaching and my calendar being full, the only opportunity I had was this morning. So
I'm glad you were able to do this, but it has to be frustrating. I mean,
absolutely. That seems like something that should have been in place well in advance.
Yeah, it seems like you should double check that everything is ready before filing day so that when people are driving hours to come up, that everything goes smoothly and it would be correct. What bothers me is they made the mistake, but we have to do the work.
Yeah.
You had to drive back up again.
Complete lack of acceptance of any responsibility for the mistake too. I mean, we don't expect people to be perfect, but we expect you to take some accountability when you mess up, right? So that's that pissed me off too.
Yeah. I mean, you're paying for gas. This is a lot of, you're having to take
time off work. I mean, yeah, all that stuff. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. It was a 2-hour drive for me this morning and then 2 hours back. So.
And it's so important that we get all these candidates on the ballot because, in my opinion, the most important race in November is the Secretary of State race. If we can flip this, if we can get Beau Bayh or Blythe Potter elected into Secretary of State, and we can make it easier to vote, we can make it easier to run for office so that these type of mistakes don't happen. We can increase democracy, increase voter turnout. We can make this state purple again. We can make this state reflective of Hoosiers. The people we elect would actually have to start listening to us, which is what they're not doing now. Oh, did you know this, Beau? Did you know that they made like a bill, because the State House and the State Senate are in session right now, and they tried to make a bill and pass it to like stop the car thing happening that Diego did?
Mitch Gore is a friend of mine. Yeah.
And didn't it not go through? They wouldn't let it go through.
Of course it didn't, because they can't give up the shiny toys. I mean, that's a nice truck. And when they feel like they're above the law, when they feel like there's no accountability for bad acts, of course they're going to continue with the status quo. They're about to find out in November that there are consequences for ripping off Hoosier taxpayers. We're going to tell people about this stuff, and they're going to find that it's unacceptable.
Ryan, what area are you running for? Will you tell everybody?
It's House District 66 as state representative. That covers most of Clark County, some of Scott County, and some of Jefferson County.
I want to have you on sometime so we can talk about, and Beau, I don't know how much you know about this, the Jamie Knowles stuff, the scandal, because that's your area, Clark County. We are
Oh yeah,
still having a lot of suffering. The firefighters, the ambulance systems. We
there's
just
still
have,
a lot of fallout from all of that still happening now in court. So
yeah, yeah.
it's a case to be paid attention to for sure.
Let me know when you want to come on and talk about that because I don't think the whole state is aware.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no problem. I
Okay.
do have to jump off here. I have another meeting I have
Thank
to
you
get
so
to.
much for
Hey,
coming
it's
on.
great
And
seeing you.
thanks
Yep,
for
good-
going and
good meeting
filing
you.
again because we need you in this race. And then how
Oh,
can
yeah.
people follow you, Ryan? Where can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. My website is pricin66.com. If you want to shoot me an email, it's ryan@pricin66.com. I'm open to anybody. So,
And yeah, can you donate on your Act Blue? Do you have that open?
it's linked on my website. So if you just go to the website, there's a donate button down there. So yeah, it'll take you right to it.
We just flip a couple House seats. We can stop this super
We
majority.
need four House seats to break the supermajority. So Ryan
Oh.
and Sarah, you're going to be a couple of those.
We're going to try. So thanks for making time for us before your meeting and your busy day driving. Thanks, Ryan, for filing again. And hopefully we'll have you on for a full hour sometime.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
All right.
Ryan.
Bye.
Thanks.
Before you leave, Beau, we got about at least 5 more minutes with you. What do you want listeners to know about? Because we are both very frustrated that this is happening. We want candidates, we want people to feel comfortable filing and running for state office in Indiana. What do you want us to know about how things are, how things should be? Give us some of your wisdom of what you'd like to see happen.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see a competent person fill this office. It should not be partisan. The office is really administrative in nature. You're the chief election officer of our state. You handle business registration, securities fraud investigations, and you regulate the auto dealerships. None of those things should be overly partisan. We need someone in this office with integrity who can do the job responsibly. I have done securities fraud investigations at the federal level. I'm a lawyer. I've done complex corporate formations as a lawyer as well. And I hope to bring some of that experience to this office. But I just want everyone to know that elections have consequences. And when we elect incompetent people, we should expect incompetent performance out of those people. Diego Morales is not only dishonest, he is deeply incompetent. And this position, which is so important, the chief election officer of our state, cannot be filled by someone who lacks integrity and who doesn't know how to do their job. So that's why it's so important. Everyone watching this right now, please make sure you're registered to vote. Please make a plan to vote in November. If you're interested in being a delegate at the state party convention, do that. That's a great way to get involved in on the grassroots level in the party. Even if you're not supporting me, please, I would just be so happy to just see you get involved because that's
so to be a delegate, we only have a couple more days to do that. Is that correct?
So the
So
deadline
to be a delegate, you need to go to your clerk's office, and the deadline is Friday at noon.
Friday at noon, Friday, February 6th at noon. You have to fill out a form called the CAN 37. If you just Google CAN 37 form Indiana, that'll pop right up. You fill that out, you bring it to your county clerk's office, and they will notarize it there for you. And you will be on the ballot in the primary to be elected as a delegate. And then if you get selected, you can participate at the state party convention where you'll be able to pick our candidate for auditor, treasurer, secretary of state. And if you want to support me, that would mean the world to me. And you also get to vote on the party platform, and there's some other things that go along
So
with that.
it's even easier than that, Beau. I'm a delegate. I went to the clerk's office. I didn't fill out a form ahead of time. I just went to the office and said,
There you
I
go.
want to be a delegate for the Democrats. And they got the form for me and they helped me fill it out. And then
Good.
they copied it and then they gave it to me. So it's
Good.
even easier than that. You just need to just drive to your clerk's office before Friday at noon. And then if this is kind of cool, there's only so many per county of delegates you can have. So if more sign up than are able to, you get on the primary ballot and Democrats will get to pick who they want to be the delegates. So
but
I
Jen,
might
I
be
would,
on that
I
if
would
we get enough.
just say to your listeners, if you're worried about competing on the ballot and not being generally, this is not true of everywhere, but generally there's fewer people that sign up than there are allotted slots. So if you
Yeah, I
sign
don't
up,
think we'll have that happen, but that's what happens if too many people.
there's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
very
yeah.
good chance that you'll be selected if you sign up. And Sarah, it's good to hear you had that experience at the county clerk's office. That is how government should operate. When you go
Yeah.
in and you have something that you want to do, it should get done. There should be no hassle, and you should have faith that it's done properly. So I'm
I
glad that.
don't think everybody's clerk's office is as good as the Harrison County one. I've been using that for all 3 elections I've run in, and they've been great and very helpful. So I'm thankful for that. Yeah. And that's also how you can sign up to be a precinct chairperson. They
Exactly.
need that right now.
You
Same
can do
filing
both
date.
as well. You can do both.
I
You can
did
do
both at the
delegate.
same time. I signed up for precinct chair. I signed up for delegate. And then I drove to State House on the first day to sign up to run for State House. So I've been to 2 places to get all my forms filled out. But those ones were very easy. The State House one, a little bit harder.
Well, thanks a ton, Sarah. I got to jump here to another meeting.
Thank you so much for making time. I
thanks.
really appreciate it, and good luck.
Appreciate
Hopefully, I'll
everything
have you
you're
on
doing.
again. Oh, and I'll see you at the gala I'll get to meet you in person, February
That's
28th,
right.
Harrison County
Yes,
Dem
can't
Gala.
wait.
We're
Can't wait.
halfway sold out. We've got half the tickets
Amazing.
sold.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
All right, Sarah,
Bye.
take
Thank
care.
you.
Appreciate it.
And now I've got Blythe and Michelle. Wait, there she goes. So here's Michelle Higgs
Hi.
from Indiana Rural Summit. Here's Blythe Potter, who's running for Indiana Secretary of State. Thank you two so much for joining me. What a crazy day, you guys.
Every day is crazy. It's its own chaos every day.
So I don't know which one we want to do first. I want to hear from Blythe about, you're running for Secretary of State and what do you think all of this mess is about? And then Michelle, you're the person that sort of understands what in the world happened. And
I don't know. I don't know that I can say I understand. I will say maybe we were at the ground zero
Oh no.
when things happened. So yeah.
Okay, let's do that first. How
Yeah.
did you find out that some of these candidates have to refile?
So I was actually at the State House yesterday with Carrie Sichello, who is running for House District 60, which was where I ran in 2024. And so we were there. She had a meeting, and then we were going to be filing, and over at the elections division. And I got a call from the Megan Rudy, who's the director of the Indiana House Caucus. And she alerted me that there may be some of our candidates who had filed on January 7th that would need to come back to the State House. And so that's when I first heard about it. And I think at that moment, they were all hearing about it. Like it was just like nobody knew quite what the details were.
Okay, you just hit.
And
Something
so-
happened. People are going to
Yeah.
have to refile, but you don't know what. You just
Yeah.
are alerted of it.
Yeah.
Did you know which candidates it were, or did it take a minute to track down which ones?
It took a minute. We had an initial list, and then I've heard since then that there were others that were involved, and so I think it's kind of been a moment where they're just checking everything, and people are stepping in and being cautious, on what they're doing. So yeah.
And Blythe, for you running for Secretary of State, you have advocated for we need to make things easier. We need to make it easier to vote, easier for candidates to vote. What are you feeling watching somebody have this job and this type of stuff happening?
I'm not surprised at all, but I should tell you, I didn't hear anything that Michelle said. So if I repeat something, my apologies.
That's okay.
I mean, it's not surprising. The entire government is run by the GOP. They are completely incapable of doing their jobs. And it's hard to not think that this might have been intentional because it's not like this is their first rodeo. So,
But you know what? I realized this messes up the Republicans too. A bunch of Republican candidates also have to refile now. I don't think they're going to be really happy about it.
I don't understand why it's not already a thing where not only is everybody in that office a notary, but all of our clerks' offices have notaries on staff. Our
The
trustees
library. I
already
drive
have
down to
them.
my library for a notary.
Yeah, they should have it in any government office where they are like certifying or taking documents like that. There should be notaries on staff. So it really shouldn't have been a problem in the first place, but somebody in that office should have known ahead of time that this was a problem.
Yeah, that's what worries me, the incompetence of the office. We elected this person to be in charge of our elections, and then they hire people, correct?
Yes.
And so these people, somehow a mistake was made, and somebody who wasn't authorized to be a notary, they weren't really a notary, was signing all of these candidates as the notary, saying this is an official document, but it wasn't actually official. That's what we think happened.
Well, I think what they tried to do, sorry, I think the problem was my map was gone. So the problem was I believe what it sounds like is they are able in some capacities to deputize their employees to help do some of the jobs that the Secretary of State can do. But I don't think notary is one of them.
So they thought they were covered, and then they're like,
They
wait a minute,
didn't
we
have
weren't.
like an oath or something. Something a muck happened with that, but they should have all known that. They oversee getting actual notaries.
Yeah. Something else that was really upsetting to me while I was trying to run for state house was how hard it was to find the correct documents to bring with me to Indy. I was talking to you, Michelle, at like 10 at night, right before I left, the night before I left, and you sent me the document about the money. I don't remember what that one was called.
The economic interest
Economic
impact. Yeah.
interest. Yeah, because and so I'm like filling it out, and I've been trying to do this for weeks, get the right form. So, do you have Blythe? Do you have like some suggestions for how to make this better? What would you do if you were elected into this office?
I want to streamline everything, not just for candidates and the campaign finance. Everything needs to be ready on mobile. Everything should be laid out in a step-by-step guide. If you put in, this is an office I want to go and run for, you should have information that's easy to find it. The information is there. It's just pretty clunky, or there's extra steps. It's not very intuitive.
I
And a
couldn't
lot
find it. Like, I'm not an idiot. I'm not the smartest person
It's not
online,
easy.
but I should have been able to find it, and I couldn't.
I think anybody, and that's the thing, right? Anybody should be able to use it. But a lot of these systems were done, like their campaign finance portal, for instance, was done in like 97. It's very, 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 very antiquated. But same with NBiz, the other Secretary of State's websites, even checking your voting registration, it's indianavoters.in.gov. Why does it have to be so long? And why isn't it just like Indiana voters or something easy to go and check that stuff? So I think it would be nice to make things easier and more accessible for people who are, we have a lot more people paying more attention now. And if I have people reaching out to me asking how to register to vote, that means it's not easy.
No. Can you just call your clerk's office, your county clerk's office, and get registered to vote there?
That is a good question. I'm going to say no, but I don't have a good answer because I know you can do it online.
You can do it when you get your driver's license, you can, but sometimes they mess up and it doesn't go through. Because when I worked I've worked a couple elections, and in the last one I worked at, there were about 7 people that came in, and they were like new drivers, and they had signed up to vote, and it should have worked, and it didn't show up on their system, and they could not vote. And so,
well, that's the BMV dropped that ball, but I believe that's also a disconnect with the Secretary of State's office.
Yeah. So we need to double check, but even double checking is hard. I think you can go to your clerk's office and register to vote.
You can go in person, but I don't know that you can do it over the phone.
Right. Okay. You don't think you can call, but you can go in.
I've never been asked that before, but I am going to look.
Because I'm just trying to find the easiest way. Like, a lot of people I know would rather go in person and talk to a person instead of do the online thing. And are they doing the right online thing? Could it be a scam? There's so many people that are confused about that. So that's why I'm trying to find the easiest way for people to make sure they're registered to vote. And I think it might be go to your clerk's office in person and check.
Very likely would be in person if they want to be sure, but still the clerk's office, I believe, is going to have to make sure that gets to the Secretary of State's office. So
you can also go through, if you're a Democrat, you can contact your county Democrat party and they can check for you. If you're Republican, you can check with your Republican party and they can check for you. That is also another option. But yeah, I don't like the website at all. It is not,
I don't either.
Easy.
Well, and one thing, if I can,
well, it's mostly just not easy to remember it. If you go to indianavoters.com, it's not going to likely get you there.
I think you can Google it and it pops up, like Indiana voting and it pops up. Yeah.
And vote.gov, like there are other things like League of Women Voters, other 501c4s are going to have access links to that per state, but it should be a lot easier.
One other thing I want to just also name is, even in listening to the two of you. I
can't hear anything Michelle is saying for some reason.
Oh no. The steps that happen, many of those get broken, right? They don't work, whatnot. And so we've created over 20 years these other circuits, these other paths, right? And I think that's part of the problem. And if anything, January 7th, when we brought those, 24 plus candidates, it was a stress test on this system, and it failed, right? And so if anything, the Indiana Rural Summit is once again kind of highlighting, like, we want regular people to run for office, and where are we seeing those barriers? And I don't want to say people are necessarily gatekeeping. I think that can happen. I just think it has been poor governance, like an actual thing of the meat and potatoes of governing. It is not glamorous. It is administrative, and you do your job. And when you do it well, everything is effortless and it works. And I think we've accepted the clunky and then made other ways around it, and never actually fixed the system. And then the people that take these offices end up being more politicians and not actually doing their job. And so I think this is
it
what
seems
we're
very
fighting.
obvious that it seems like Diego Morales was not elected in this position to make it easier for all of us to run for office and to make it easier for us to vote. It was a political decision, and we're being misled. We don't know whether we can trust what's coming out, what he is saying. He even just had like a post last week where he acts like he was shoveling his driveway, and you look at the way the snow was taken, and it was like a snow, what do you call it? A snow blower. And it wasn't. So it's like, you just don't know whether you can trust him at all. And so you're right. We're so lucky. Like, I feel like we're so blessed that we have Indiana Rural Summit, and that we have mad voters, and that we have all, Indiana League of Voters, and the women voters, and we have Do Something Southern. We've got all these groups that have popped up that are supporting a system, because the system isn't working. It's not easy to run to vote. So all these organizations that don't get paid to do it are doing the job of the people that are getting paid to do it. And that is something that is frustrating to me. Blythe, is that frustrating to you?
It is, because really the onus is on the campaigns and people who care. And it's a lot of work. And one easy way to get money out of politics is for our clerks in the Secretary of State office to be disseminating that information for us in as nonpartisan or impartial way as possible. But I think the larger problem here is, and it's not just with Diego, but really all of a lot of our elected officials, mostly the GOP, the expectation was never for them to work for us. This was never a customer service job. This was never a service. They are doing what they are basically being told to do by the Republicans. They vote the way they're told to vote. And they are only held accountable to one another, their donors, and the party. And that has to change, because look at where it's gotten us. We're in a bad place because of it. So it's pretty exciting to be on this side of things, knowing that we have a ton of really great candidates, many of them in the Rural Summit, who are ready to go to work for the state of Indiana and beyond, and really change and lead by example, and kind of change what that expectation looks like.
Yeah, Hoosiers that are watching, we need to get the word out. Tell everybody what is happening with this election, so that people vote, and we vote better. We shouldn't be voting for people that are doing, like you said, they're just blindly voting with the party. Whatever the party tells them to do, we do. We need candidates that won't listen to the party, but listen to the people. Michelle, why did you start the Indiana Rural Summit? Because I kind of feel like today kind of showed why we need you.
Yeah. When I ran in 2024 for House District 60, I think day 2 after filing, you suddenly get all the emails from all of the vendors and everything. And I just realized, like, there's a whole ecosystem that makes money off of candidates and off of the fact that we don't know a whole lot of things, and we are really dependent. And then just realizing that the issues that were impacting my district were very similar to the things that were impacting Michael Potter's district next door to me, and that were impacting the district down below. And so it really became a thing of, if I can start to have these conversations not only with the candidates, but more importantly with the base across, then we can actually start to do things together. And really, we're never going to win a top of ticket race unless we can actually get voters to turn out across all of Indiana, not just the metro areas. And so that was really the motivation. And we didn't realize, I'll be honest, that we were stepping into a moment where rural voices and small town voices were going to be at the heart of a lot of the election stuff. And so I'm just so thankful that we've pulled together a team. And Sarah, you've been part of it from the beginning, where we're kind of holding the fort and moving everybody just together, aligning in the same direction. So
It's nice
yeah.
because Blythe has been a part of Indiana Rural Summit
Yep.
too, because her husband ran for state house and is running again, and so she's been very. It's kind of like giving everybody a warm hug. I'm just so proud of you, Michelle. What you're doing is so important. I'm kind of amazed at how much you've done since you started this group and how helpful you were on filing day. That's why this was so shocking to me that this happened, because it was so incredible what you were able to pull off. Blythe, I want to take it back to you, girl. What what do you want voters to know? Beau was on earlier. He kind of explained that delegates are going to elect the Secretary of State Democrat candidate. It's going to be on June 6th, and that you can go to your clerk's office by Friday at noon to file to be a delegate. What do you want Project Next listeners and viewers to know about you and your race?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one, it's a very exciting race. I love this for the Democrats. We have a lot more people engaged. People are excited about it. And people are paying more attention to politics than ever. So I think it's going to be a really fun convention. Um, a little bit about me. I'm a lifelong Hoosier, small business owner. I have an MBA. I have extensive experience in administrative work, and this is an administrative job. And getting out the vote is just advertising and marketing. And I also do that as a small business owner. But the thing I want to do most, other than what we spoke about before, improving the way things function on the end of the websites and how they're mobile ready, I want to create basically a ballot book that we can have digitally. People can opt in to a physical form too if they don't have internet access. But it just explains everything about our elections, your local polling place, the times, how to get an absentee ballot, what positions are open if you want to run, what a precinct chair is, what a delegate is, how to get involved. And also I want, I almost said clients, when candidates sign up to run, whether it's municipal, state, or federal, I want them to be able to put something that's 700 words, impartial, so that everybody who can vote on that person has a little bit of information coming directly from the
That
candidate.
seems so duh. We should
A
have
lot of
that
states
now.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
this would be the most comprehensive voter book in the country, as far as I'm concerned. Some counties in Indiana already do something similar, but I want it to be all inclusive. You know,
But we don't
include
have
as much
anything.
information.
We don't have anything in my county.
Well, we don't, because the Republicans like to spend money on luxury vehicles and world travel instead of taking care of what they should be doing with these offices.
There's just no transparency or accountability. Like
Yeah.
we don't know what's going on in Indiana government. The only reason we know is because of organizations like Mad Voters, Indian Rural Summit, all these nonprofits that track what's going on. Otherwise, we would not have a clue, except for the propaganda released by these Republicans in charge, acting like they're doing things to help us. And
Yeah.
it's not, it's misleading.
We need better education too. There's so much gatekeeping in politics. Really, if you think about it, and this isn't unique to the Democrats, but even having a convention for this is gatekeeping. 'Cause
Yeah,
we're only
I
letting
wish
a
you were
very
on the
small-
primary ballot. I wish you were on the
I
primary
do
ballot
too.
this race.
The state should be able to decide who's on their ballot in November. And we're leaving out a large chunk of the population by only having like 2,600 people be able to vote for it. But we can't change it
Even
until
who
people
gets
like
to
us
be
get elected.
delegates, even who gets to be
Mhm.
delegates is gatekeeping, because the
Yep.
chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer automatically get 4 seats. And
Mhm.
then whoever else goes and files, well, that's going to be the people that are in their party that are told how to do this. So I think everybody's campaign and Project Next, I think we've been doing a pretty good job of trying to get regular Hoosiers that are upset to know how to run as a delegate. So I think that helps. But again, the people that should be doing this job are not. The people that
Well,
should
and
be
they,
educating us on this process are not doing that.
yeah, and it's not just as simple as filling out paperwork because you have to be able to come spend an entire Saturday in Indianapolis. And some people, that's a 3 to 4 hour drive. That doesn't include childcare, or if you have to go the night before, it
If you're
doesn't
having to
include
pay for
gas and
gas,
food. Yeah,
right?
there's so much to it. So there's a lot of barriers to entry. And then of course, if you're an elected delegate or appointed or automatic, I guess, if something happens and you can't go, you don't get to partake. So just, education is always missing in Indiana's politics. So I think this will be a
And
good
this is
chance
the
for that
problem
too.
too. We know about this, you two, when we elected the Indiana Democrat state chair. So few people got to
Mhm.
vote for that position.
Yeah.
And I tried to help. I used Project Next to try to help. I was talking to people that had the vote, and it was so frustrating. It could have been done at the convention with the delegates. It could have been at least 2,000 people instead of it ended up being like it was like 40 people or something that got to vote. I mean, we have so much gatekeeping in this state that's why we're having stuff like Indian Rule Summit. That's why we're doing that because we don't have a say in as much as we'd like in the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, and even too, so that was my first time going with the party chair thing as well. I didn't realize that congressional district chairs often were voted on depending on who they were going to vote for party chair.
That's
So these
right.
decisions were made without
I know
precinct
people that
chairs knowing.
yes, you're right. I
Same.
forgot about that.
And I
That
found out
was
after the
wild.
fact. I was mad. I was so mad. Well,
I was
yeah.
mad too. We talked about it.
It-
We were both mad. What were
we
you going
were
to say,
mad.
Michelle, about that?
oh, I was gonna kind of circle
I don't think
back
we can work here.
to Blythe's her wanting to do the publication voter education. So I lived for 25 years in Los Angeles, right? So California has a voter guide that goes out, and it is comprehensive partly because they have ballot measures, right? And so I think one of the challenges that we have here is we have been so disenfranchised from our voting experience that you don't know what you don't know. And when you actually see what it does it look like if you had ballot measures, and in California you'd get your voter guide, it would have whatever the ballot measure was. It would have actually an explanation maybe by the author of that, of why it was important. Then you would have the pro and the con, and you would have 3 or 4 arguments for or against, and then rebuttals to those. So you actually had within one document a debate about the measure that was there, which was so incredibly helpful. And we don't have that on the regular bills that we
I
get.
just want to
much
clarify
less.
what you're talking about so everybody knows. So in
Yes.
Indiana, we don't have ballot initiatives. That's like when you can put specific things on the ballot and say, like, do you want to have women's health care? Access to women's health care. Let's put it on there. Do you want to legalize marijuana?
Yeah.
Indiana, they took that right away. The state house and the state senate can do it. They can put stuff on, but we, the people, cannot get enough signatures. So in California, when you go to vote in California, I've heard it takes like a half an hour to vote because
It can.
there's tons of ballot initiatives that you're reading and so there's like all this extra stuff you get to vote for. But you know what else? There is a problem in California, Michelle. I did find out sometimes they vote on those initiatives and then they don't happen.
Oh
I've
gosh,
heard
yeah.
that's another problem.
You get that, but I will say again, California has a super majority just like Indiana does.
Yep.
So when you have single party,
Super
that
majority
is where
Democrats.
you end up having the problem because you get kind of lulled into this place of not actually dealing with the things that get broken because you don't have to. So yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, this is just so frustrating. Blythe, is there anything you want to say about Secretary of State, about this situation with Diego? Is there anything I'm leaving off? I want to make sure you get all the things that you wanted to say. I'm thankful that you made time for us today.
I am thankful you had me on. It was good to see you both. We need to fire Diego again. We know he's been fired from the Secretary of State's office as an employee. And I want to bring boring back to the office of Secretary of State. We should be doing boring administrative work, not screwing people over.
Yeah, it would be really nice to like make it so it wouldn't be so stressful to run for office, for state office. We need more people to run. Also, we
Mhm.
have a few more days. We have Friday until noon. Some people need to refile. They need to get back over there. Good job, Michelle, and the team at the Democrats that work for the election and work for the state on notifying the people that need to come back. But we still have a day and a half to file to run for something. There's still state house open, I think, right? Isn't there
Mhm.
still state senate seats? Are there still state senate
So
seats
we
open?
had,
Yeah,
yeah,
and Mad
so
Voter's tracking that as well. They've been updating their website on that and their social media, so they'll have better information on that too. But I'm pretty sure there's
Yeah.
still some uncontested spots. Even, well, no, that wouldn't be municipal, but locally at the county offices, you can run for municipal offices there, sign up for delegate and precinct committee people there as well, until Friday at noon.
Yeah, something that
Yep.
helps all these state, your state house, your secretary of state race. Something that really helps is if you just run for something small in your county, like township advisory board, township trustee, and then there's
Mhm.
full-time jobs that are open on the ballot now. There might be a judge or a prosecutor or sheriff, like all of those things really help. There's auditor. We need an auditor in Harrison County
Yeah.
still. We need a Democrat candidate for that. So we still have just a tiny bit amount of time. Get in touch with your party chair, your clerk's office, ask them questions. You can just go to the clerk's office and ask them, but that helps. Precinct chairs we need, delegates, all these things we have Friday until noon. So we just have a couple more days. But I do have hope. There's a lot more people on the ballot than 2 years ago.
Mhm.
A lot more.
There are.
And
well, and if I can speak to that, while I was in the election division, this was on Tuesday, they had we heard they were, I think, shy of 2 Senate contested races, and we were, I think, 79 or 80 out of 92, or out of the 100 House races, right? And this time, normally before the primary, they don't have near that many. They do a lot of caucusing in, right? And so, speaking to some of the people in the office there, they said that they have not seen this kind of turnout pre-primary for over a decade. So that is very, very encouraging that people are stepping up and exercising their civic duty.
And I hope I hope that is happening everywhere. Like what you
I
said
do
with
too.
California, they're a super majority of Democrats. It shouldn't be that way. It should be 50-50. It should be purple holding each other accountable. We can do that in Indiana. We can flip 4 state house seats. We could do this next election in November. I hope it's happening in other states too, so that our elected officials have to listen to us. We have lost our voice in Indiana. Look at what the state house and the state senate's doing. Track Mad Voters to see. It's depressing though, you all. They're not listening at all. Okay, I know you both have a meeting to go to. Is there anything else either one of you want to say? I just want to shout out Indiana Rural Summit. They're on Instagram, Facebook. Are you on TikTok? And you have a website.
No,
You have a
not yet. We have a
website.
website yet.
Yeah, and then you can
IndianaRuralSummit.org.
yeah.
Mhm.
So Indiana Rural Summit, great place. I'm just so thankful for all that you do to help candidates. You help me out. And then Blythe, how do we follow your oops, I turned you off. How do we follow your things on social media?
I'm at blythepotter.com and blythepotterin on all the social media feeds.
And then do you have a website?
Yep, blythepotter.com.
Oh yeah, you said that. Sorry. And then you have a newsletter too. And Beau has a newsletter too. And yeah, I don't know whether does Indiana Rural Summit have a newsletter? You just send stuff out
We
to
w-
candidates and help us.
Right now, yeah, we will be setting out a newsletter to the general too. But yeah, getting there.
We're gonna save Indiana, you guys.
Yep.
I'm really hopeful that it's gonna start this November. And thank
Yep.
you for the work you all are doing. We're just gonna keep at it, and it gets messy and it gets stressful and it gets hard. And I'm just gonna keep loving everybody that is fighting for Indiana. I'm just gonna keep loving everybody. I'm gonna do my best with Project Next to try to help this state. And let's do it, you guys.
Awesome.
Save the
Thank
world.
you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Love you guys. Thank
Bye.
you so
Bye.
much. Share this with somebody. Get the word out about the craziness. And if you are a candidate that has to go back up to Indy to refile, I'm sorry, but please do that. All right. Yeah, have fun at your meeting tonight, and I'll see you in person sometime. We have a gala on the 28th if you want to come to that, the Harrison County Dem Gala.
I'll be down that way. Yeah. Yep.
So yeah,
Cool.
hopefully I'll see you again
Thanks.
soon. Yeah.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Bye, everybody. Love you guys.